He was meant to be the architect of Ferrari's resurgence, the man tasked with restoring the Scuderia's lost glory. Fred Vasseur didn't just inherit a legendary team, he brought in Lewis Hamilton, convincing one of the sport's greatest to don the iconic red. Alongside Charles Leclerc, he had a driver lineup that most teams could only dream of. The mission? Simple: win. But fast forward to today, and that dream is crumbling. What began as a season filled with optimism has quickly spiraled into something far more troubling. Ferrari's 2025 campaign, once full of promise, now feels like a slow-motion collapse. Behind the scenes, tension is mounting, and whispers are growing louder. Not just about poor race results, but about Vasseur's future at the helm. It's no longer just the fans or media questioning the direction of the team. Even Hamilton and Leclerc, two elite drivers in their prime, are visibly frustrated. A season that was supposed to bring title contention has instead left them struggling to fend off teams like Aston Martin and Williams. When drivers of their caliber are this disillusioned, the issue runs deeper than just the machinery. This is about leadership, or the lack of it. The performances have been underwhelming. Strategies have been chaotic. Communication from the pit wall? Often too slow, sometimes completely missing. Each race weekend now follows a painful pattern. Early optimism on Friday, fading hopes by Saturday, and crushing disappointment by Sunday. At the heart of it all stands Fred Vasseur, still defending his decisions, still backing a team that looks increasingly lost. So what exactly is going wrong in Maranello? Why is race management so erratic? And how have two world-class drivers ended up so demoralized so early in the year? Is Fred Vasseur already fighting for his job? In this video, we're peeling back the curtain on Ferrari's internal struggles, what's really happening inside the walls of Maranello, and why even Hamilton and Leclerc are left bewildered. So if you want the real story of Ferrari's unraveling 2025 season, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss this. Because what we're about to reveal might completely upend everything you thought you knew about Formula One's most iconic team. Back when this season kicked off, Ferrari was supposed to be one of the championship favorites. The hype wasn't just media noise. The arrival of Lewis Hamilton marked a seismic shift. Leclerc was already a proven force, and Vasseur had been given ample time to build the team his way. And yet here we are, weeks into the season, and the Scuderia is already in damage control. This was supposed to be the payoff, the result of months of internal restructuring, new systems, and a unified vision. Yet just 6 races into the season, Ferrari's 2025 campaign is unraveling. Not only are they out of championship contention, they're not even consistently competing for podiums. Instead, they're stuck in 4th in the constructors' standings, behind McLaren and Red Bull, and now at risk of being overtaken by a resurgent Mercedes. Let's begin with the most glaring issue: the car. The SF25 has simply not delivered. Aerodynamically, it lacks the efficiency needed to compete at the front. It's unpredictable through fast corners, unreliable in low-speed grip, and highly sensitive to environmental changes. Its optimal performance window is painfully narrow, making it a constant struggle for both drivers to extract consistent pace, whether in qualifying or during long stints. What was billed as a significant upgrade over last year's SF24 has, in many respects, stagnated. The weaknesses persist: instability at the rear, a tendency to overheat its tires, and vulnerability to gusty conditions. These traits not only undermine race pace, they specifically hinder Hamilton, whose style demands rear-end confidence. But the car isn't the only issue. It's the way Ferrari is operating as a team that has observers alarmed. Strategic calls have been underwhelming, often delayed or lacking in conviction. In key races like Australia and Miami, both drivers were left questioning decisions that either came too late or weren't made at all. The pit wall looks uncertain. Communication is sluggish. The clarity just isn't there. When elite drivers like Hamilton and Leclerc are left waiting on guidance, when their radios are filled with hesitation or silence, it reveals something far deeper than bad luck. It hints at structural dysfunction. Hamilton has already had to request team orders, having sat behind Leclerc on fresher tires while the pit wall hesitated. That moment was wasted. Leclerc, meanwhile, has grown more vocal. Once a model of composure, he's begun to challenge the team's approach publicly, especially in qualifying. His comments that he's extracting everything from the car, but the car is giving a little back, should sound alarm bells in Maranello. This shift in tone from such a usually measured driver points to rising frustration. And behind closed doors, Fred Vasseur's leadership is starting to draw scrutiny. While he's kept a steady front publicly and continues to enjoy the support of Ferrari's top brass, for now, the atmosphere within the team is changing. There's a creeping sense that the cautious culture he was hired to dismantle remains deeply embedded. Despite promises of greater technical freedom and streamlined decision-making, Ferrari still feels paralyzed when it matters most. Ferrari still looks like the same sluggish, reactive organization it's been for far too long, and that's exactly where the real danger lies. Fred Vasseur was brought in to revolutionize the Scuderia, to build a modern, agile team where drivers, engineers, and strategists could operate as one. But so far, the results paint a very different picture. In fact, many are now questioning whether Ferrari has actually gone backward. Yes, the SF25 has flashed raw speed at times, but what does that matter when it's consistently undone by poor decision-making and tactical errors? Even more troubling is the absence of urgency. After being convincingly outpaced by McLaren, Red Bull, and even Aston Martin in Miami, Vasseur's post-race tone was surprisingly relaxed. He spoke of minor updates for Imola and Monaco, and a more comprehensive reset around the Spanish Grand Prix. But why wait? Why are other teams pushing bold, aggressive upgrades while Ferrari holds back? The truth is, playing it safe doesn't win championships. And this cautious approach has now placed Vasseur in a precarious position. The drivers are visibly frustrated. The Tifosi, Ferrari's passionate fan base, are growing restless. And rivals are pulling ahead in development. While McLaren and Mercedes push out game-changing evolutions, Ferrari's upgrade path feels hesitant, even uncommitted. The much-discussed Imola updates are already being dwarfed by what others are bringing. And if they fail to make a serious impact, the fallout could be significant. There's a lot riding on this season. Ferrari now has Lewis Hamilton, one of the greatest drivers in history, locked into a multi-year deal. If he starts to lose confidence in the team's trajectory this early, it could trigger a collapse in morale throughout Maranello. And Charles Leclerc? He's watching carefully. His future with Ferrari depends on belief in the car, in the process, and in the leadership. If that trust erodes, Ferrari won't just be losing races, they might lose one of their foundational drivers. And we can't ignore Ferrari's famously volatile political landscape. At Maranello, pressure doesn't slowly build, it explodes. Team bosses don't get endless time. They're judged by performance, and when performance disappears, so does the support. It's happened before. It can happen again. Vasseur was meant to bring stability. But if that stability starts to look like stagnation, the board will have no choice but to make a change. This is the tipping point. Ferrari doesn't need tweaks. It needs bold leadership. It needs urgency. It needs a clear, aggressive course correction. If Vasseur can't sharpen the team's execution, re-establish control, and restore confidence in the garage, his time in charge could come to an abrupt end. Hamilton and Leclerc aren't just alarmed by the results, they're alarmed by the silence, the indecision, the lack of a clear direction. And that, more than anything, is why Fred Vasseur's job is hanging in the balance. The next 3 races, Imola, Monaco, and Barcelona, aren't just important. They're potentially decisive. They will shape Ferrari's 2025 campaign, yes, but they may also determine whether Vasseur stays in charge through the summer. The upgrades must work. The strategy must improve. The mistakes have to stop. Because if they don't, Ferrari will once again be searching for answers, and for a new leader to take them forward. Let us know what you think in the comments. Is Vasseur the right person to lead Ferrari back to glory? Or has the damage already been done? Comments below. And once you're done, don't forget to click on the video that's popping up on your screen right now. And don't forget to subscribe my channel.